you've got publics, you've got Ivies, you've got, say, kind of Catholic, and you've got more serious about their faith Catholic schools, and there are some significant differences, right? So what you can expect at a big public school, if your son or daughter is just going into that school, is they're not going to get a lot of personal attention. They're going to have a lot of professors who are driven by a variety of ideas that are probably contrary to the ones with which you raised them. They may be okay, but they really need to find a network of strong Catholic friends. It is not guaranteed that they're going to lose their faith there, and in some respects, it could be a better environment than a Catholic university that has really abandoned its commitment to fidelity. When I went to my undergraduate college, I was profoundly scandalized by a number of things. I'll just focus on maybe three briefly. I was in a scripture class, and my professor, who was a nun, was insistent that Mary could not have been a perpetual virgin. This is just a crazy idea, and I was the only guy in the class to say, wait a second, this is pretty core to the faith. And she joked about my sort of devotional attitude. It was a laughing matter in the classroom. I was a big boy, I could take it. So it's not like I wilted under that, but it was funny, right? She tried to make it funny that I was insisting upon Mary's perpetual virginity. Second, I was looking around at the back of the campus ministry office outside from the chapel, and what was the most prominent material that was displayed? Catholics for Free Choice, right? And this was an organization that was dedicated to the pro-abortion cause. And I raised this as objectionable, and I was told that I was out of line and that I needed to loosen up. And that was connected to the third thing, where my wife and I both, we weren't married when we started doing this, although we were married by the end, when we were involved in the Students for Life Club at the university. There was an effort taken by a priest and a group of students who were on scholarship because of their service orientation. And that effort was to defund the Students for Life Club because we were not fit for this Catholic university, right? We had to go and defend ourselves in front of student government and narrowly won a vote to maintain our status as a legitimate organization within this Catholic university. And because we were too political, well, we did pray rosaries in front of abortion clinics. Most of our time was spent working at a crisis pregnancy center and helping them out. So, those were scandalous examples, and there are many, many more. And I reached a point where I thought, okay, if this is what Catholicism actually is, because my early experience was mainly within a charismatic community that was ecumenical. My parents were always Catholic. We would go to Mass once a week. We didn't have a whole lot of Catholic devotionals. And I thought, well, maybe I'm like an evangelical. I believe in the reality of Jesus, but this is not what I thought Catholicism was, but maybe that's what it is. I decided that I had enough faith to stay close to the sacraments, and fortunately, John Paul II had just issued a new catechism, 1992, 1992, I think was the date of that. So I started to work through that and step by step deepen my faith. And as I was making my way through this undergraduate college, I would occasionally still go to the student mass, and the numbers were dwindling. So many of my classmates came from great families, and all of these little efforts, it wasn't just, those examples I gave were not just happening to me, they were happening to everyone, all kinds of signals being given. And people were abandoning the faith in droves. Okay, I'm not using this term scandal imprecisely. That's exactly what scandal does. It drives people away from the faith.